Just a quick review of the Canon 70-200 f4 image stabilized lens. I've owned this lens for 12 years and I thought I would just give you a quick review of what I like about it and what they could improve. I've owned the 2.8 and I've owned the f4 and I've owned the image stabilized version for 12 years. So I think if you're looking at this lens, you've got to know what you're going to like and what you're not going to like, really. So let's have a look. It's on a 5D body. I've used it on a 5D Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3. So if you're thinking about buying this, the f4 will probably put you off. But what I found is, when I was using the 2.8 lens, when I was trying to keep it still, the image stabilization was great, but actually you shape more with the heavier lens. So I tried it out at a wedding, and I found that I could handhold the f4 lens much easier than the 2.8. So I took both lenses to weddings for probably 2 years and found that the 2.8 lens wasn't used at all in the end, and I used the f4 lens for everything. I was getting 60th of a second at f4 at 3200 ISO with a 5D Mark 1, which meant I could handhold near enough everything, and because it's brides and grooms and guests, 60th of a second just about got me there. With the 2.8 you will get that extra stop, and so that in most churches you can actually use 1/125, which is better, but at the end of the day I was finding I was shooting that lens and it was very heavy, and I was shaking more. The image stabilization in this lens is extremely good, and the image quality is outstanding. That's why I've never sold it. This lens has literally been to, I think, 275 weddings now, along with the 24-105 Mark 1, which I've just sold because I'm thinking about buying the Mark 2, and I'll probably do another video on that. But I can really recommend this lens. Go and have a look at all the charts and you'll see that landscape photographers love it as well, and a lot of them leave the 2.8 lens at home because it is very heavy. Optically, the 2.8 lens is amazing. If I put the files next to each other, I can tell the difference. Whether my customers can is another matter. What you get with the 2.8 lens is a slightly more neutral, cool image. This lens, believe it or not, is slightly warm. You can put the files next to each other. I've done extensive testing, and Canon haven't quite got them the same. But yeah, I can really recommend this lens. If you're thinking about buying it, another thing to think about is most people don't buy L series lenses if they're amateurs. They tend to buy the cheaper lenses. I recommend that you don't do that. Because if you have an L series lens, it doesn't get any better, so you don't keep buying lenses. It's simple. They're very, very good. So if you go to buy your next lens, you tend to find that it's worse than the one you've already got. So you tend to keep them a long time. And also, if you think about the cost of this lens second hand, if you were to keep it 10 years and then sell it again, you'll probably find it's gone up in value or slightly down. You're not actually losing any money. Lenses are a bit like houses, to some degree. As long as you buy certain L series Canon lenses or Nikon lenses, and camera bodies, the dreaded camera bodies, are a bit like cars. They just fall off in value instantly. And after a few years you suddenly find out that you can buy a 5D Mark 1 for £200, which would have been a £2,000 camera. So just bear in mind that with lenses. I'm going to try and do a lot more videos about buying and selling equipment now, because I think it is false economy. Camera shops will literally sell you anything. There's the odd really good shot, which I can advise you on if you give me an email. But generally, whoops, best not to kick the tripod, whoops, and shake the camera. Gets worse, doesn't it? But yeah, the 7200 f4, completely recommended. The 24105, I'll try and get a copy of it. Unfortunately, I sold mine. I completely wore it out. Took it to 270 where it never had it serviced, never had it touched, should have had it serviced. I recommend you do send your equipment to Canon and let them just tweak it and get it right. But I can recommend nearly all the L series lenses, but my wedding kit is literally a 24-105 and a 70-200 f4, and that's it really. I hope that helps. I know I haven't put charts up. You can go and look at all the charts on YouTube and opinions on this lens, but in my opinion it's one of the best lenses ever made. Just touching on it just before I go, another thing with the 2.8 lens is if you go from 70 to 200 very quickly, you can flick this lens. So you can move very quickly. Unfortunately with the 70 to 200 2.8, it does take a while. So it's a heavier drag on the zoom. So if I'm doing candid photography, I want to be able to get there very quickly. And that is probably more important than optical quality to me, is being able to get to the photo very quickly, take it, move on to the next one. The lens hood is actually better on the f4 as well. It completely blocks all the lights, nice and deep, and it's narrow. So you know, it's a very good setup. I'll try and do a little video now about the 5D. I've used this body for the past 7 years, and the 5D before that was completely worn out and the mirrors fell off it, and Canon put them back on for me. So thank you for doing that, but that just shows you the sort of use I'm getting out of this camera equipment. Don't keep buying cameras. Buy a camera, use it. If you like it, keep it. Don't keep buying cameras. Okay, hope that helps.